Macro Detectors is the fastest growing manufacturer in the industry, and for good reason. Many detectorists, including Mike Hare, call us the most innovative, but we are so much more than that. We listen to and care about our customers. We also offer a wide range of detectors to fit all of your needs. Come check out all of our products today at www.noctadetectors.com. Detectors for everyone, everywhere, a lifetime.
Welcome to the UK's first metal detection podcast. It's All Metal Mode UK with your host from across the pond, Mr. Michael Hare.
Hello, everybody. You're listening to the All Metal Mode UK podcast with myself and Mr. Dave Sadler. He's joining us this week, and he was off last week. He had to take care of some stuff, but he's back. I'm glad because I really like my co-host. He's an all right guy. Don't tell him I said that, though. Tonight, we've got Martin, Divvy Detectorist, on tonight. Looking forward to that, talking to him pre-show. Yeah, it should be a fun show. Don't forget to check out archmdmag.com. On Facebook, you can follow us at All Metal Mode Podcast UK, Metal Detecting UK Dirt Fishing, Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine, Archaeology and Metal Detecting Group. There you go. Don't forget you can find us on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and several other affiliates. And please let your fellow detectorists know. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandma. I don't care. Tell everybody. We want people listening, enjoying the show, jumping in chat. Speaking of, if you're listening and you don't know how to jump in chat, when you got the show up and going, there's a bar that comes up with the pause and the play and all that, and there's a little thing that looks like a cloud. Click on that and you will join us live in chat. So we'd love to have you, and there's usually pretty good conversations going on. And before we get started, we always have kind of little side chats going on in the room, and I've got a topic I want everybody's opinion on. A conversation came up today with somebody about test boards, where these people put nails and coins and different things on this board and they sweep at it different directions. I'm going to be real honest. I think that is super hokey. I've seen people judge a detector solely based on their findings using that board. I've seen people use that board to compare detectors and call one better than the other, which is absolutely absurd. I am all about real-world testing. When I get a detector, I go out to, whether I field hunt or, whatever I do, it doesn't matter. I go find a trashy park and I dig targets. I will admit I have 3 coins buried, 3 dimes, 6, 8, and 10 inches deep that I might spend 10 minutes with a new detector on it. That's it. I just want to know, it might give me an idea of what kind of VDI readings I'm going to get, the tone, the sound, lets me adjust the detector as I want or feel that it needs to get my tones dialed in or whatever it may be. Other than that, it's real world. And I hate that these test boards, I don't mind people using it for their own, to test a detector or whatever. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not trashing it. But when you're on YouTube and you're using these test boards to show somebody how good a detector is or isn't, or how one detector compares to another. I hate that. If I love technology, I love that there's so much information at our fingertips. I hate that there's so much bad information, though. When some of you might know better than to look at that. Most of you listening would know, that test board, you take it for what it's worth. But there's people out there that have bought detectors solely based on these test boards and the results from these test boards. And I think that's just absolutely ridiculous. But I bring it up because maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Maybe I'm missing something. I'd like to know your experience, if you've ever used a test board, what you think about them, that kind of thing. And if we can talk a little bit about that in chat. I'd love to hear some comments, what your thoughts on it, how they can be used or utilized or whatever. So let's get started. How you doing, Mr. Sadler?
I'm not too bad. How's yourself?
I'm all right. I'm doing good.
I've got to admit, I didn't need any preamble there. I do another podcast on a wrestling podcast. I came across Pro Wrestling Illustrated from March 1992 the other day, and I was just perusing that, so it took my mind off you a minute, so apologise. Very unprofessional of me. How are you? He's gone now. Missed my preamble. Well, I'll go on to the news then.
Who's gone?
What? You've gone.
What? Oh, I'm right here. I didn't hear part of that. I'm sorry. No, I'm here. I'm paying attention.
I'll go straight into the news, Mike. There's a few bits to go through. First and foremost, a friend of the show, our next week's guest, Mike Smith. There's been a lot more information been able to come out regarding the Iron Age site, which he discovered in South Wales. One of the things that has been discovered that's been announced this week is an Iron Age sword on the site. So, again, congratulations to Mike. We're looking forward to being able to listen to a more in-depth information next week, now that the everything's that's been bound over is allowed to come out. So that's the first bit of news. Over on Oak Island, there's a huge operation underway at the swamp during filming for season 7. Now, I've been following this on some Oak Island sites. A lot of tourists and what you have here from boats being able to take photographs, and it looks like the area that was outside Smith's Cove that had been sealed off and dug, it looks like that's being unsealed now and being replaced as it was, but it now looks like everything's going in depth onto the swamp. A hell of a lot of HGVs going over, and from some drone footage, very, very different looking swamp than there was last season. Over in Leicester in the UK, some unique Iron Age bark shield has been found in Leicestershire. An Iron Age bark shield, so this is something that was probably quite flimsy, but at the time very, very protective as well.
Dave, real quick, I'm sorry.
What?
I want to interrupt you before you go. Explain to me what that is.
It's basically a shield made of layers upon layers of bark, off a tree.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's what I thought you were. I wasn't sure you were saying bark even, though, so I was wanting to make sure.
No, I wasn't going woof woof.
Right.
So the shield, as you can imagine, it's been made up of layers of Iron Age bark to create a solid shield that would protect against whatever in them days, whatever form of weapons there were. And I'm sure you can appreciate how they was made back then. Without the technology they have today, they were actually quite strong, especially with all the way it was designed, the layers of fibre, the way it was laid upon each other, I'm sure was magnificently. I know they've been making reconstructions of it as well, which do look fabulous. So there's more to come on that story as well from the University of York. Finally, big news. Archaeologists have discovered 2 Viking burial ships in the Swedish municipality of Uppsala. So a rare find for that, rare type of find in that country. So again, looking forward to seeing more of the Iron Age boats that have been found there. And that's your weekly news. So,
I always that's always my favorite.
What? I thought you disappeared again, mate. You keep doing long pauses.
Well, what I'm doing, it's kind of loud around here today, so I'm trying to stay on mute. So it takes me a second to come off of mute. I'm listening. I'm hearing. That's all. Steph's
actually, Mike. On behalf of everybody who listens to the show, myself included, can we in the UK and wherever else around the world wish you a merry, happy Independence Day?
Oh, thank you so much. I felt like it might be a little awkward today, and I really didn't want to bring it up.
That's okay. You're just traitors to the crown. That's all. Don't worry about it.
That's it. Yeah. Well, if I figured if I catch too much crap over what I was going to tell you is my family, for the most part, all immigrated here from like the 1930s. So I don't know if that makes anybody feel any better or a little less hate me or anything, but
you do realise as well, more importantly than Independence Day, it's also the release of Stranger Things Season 3, don't you?
I think that's much more important.
Well, it is. To me, personally, definitely.
Yeah. Do you think it's a good show?
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Does it take you back to when you were a little kid?
It does.
Right.
And in the UK, we've got Sky Movies. Sky's have the monopoly over TV mainly in the UK, and they're running an 80s weekend on the back of this Stranger Things release. So all the 80s films that you see or you remember from watching Stranger Things, Ghostbusters, Goonies, Ferris Bueller, etc., are all on back-to-back this weekend in the UK.
Oh, that's really cool. That is really cool. Scott said he's here with me, fellow American. Yeah, at least I got one on my side that won't give me too hard a time. Pete said
Scott come home. That's the issue. He's come back to England.
Right. Peter said we're all celebrating the day we let you win. I think better is the day that you guys realize this country wasn't worth keep fighting for, keep fighting over, and like, let them hillbillies have it. Maybe it was like that. Who knows? I don't know. Something else I wanted to say real quick. No, I'll just let it go. Nothing important. Never mind.
Shall we move on quickly and introduce
Yeah. Let's go quick.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's guest is Martin, better known for people who watch him on YouTube as the Divvy Detectorist. So welcome to the show, Martin.
Yep, thanks for having me, guys.
Nice to speak to you.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. I've listened quite a lot, but yeah, it's quite nice to actually be on here.
Oh, good.
So, tell us briefly about yourself, Martin.
Well, like I said, I've roughly been detecting just over a year. It's been quite a fast thing, really. Like, it all started, I moved next door to Simon, who I do the videos with. But he's not actually been doing them for a while because he's got a bit of a bad knee. He's got to have a MRI scan on his knee, so he's out of action at the minute.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's really bad. The last time we went, I ended up having to dig all his holes. So it was even worse on me.
Yeah, I wish I had someone like that.
Guys,
yeah, I'll do it.
I got to butt in real quick. I apologize, and I apologize for laughing. Somebody wants to know, did you read the fine print that now that you're on all metal mode, you're under contract to be sponsored by LP?
Oh. I didn't see it. No.
Pete Terrell put that up there. I thought that was, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at you, or laugh while you guys were talking, but that popped up on the screen and I couldn't help it. I apologize. I had to interrupt.
I've got to say, where's my sponsorship then?
You're part of the show, though. You can't be sponsored.
No, I don't care. I'm watching for a response now. Sorry for butting in. Carry on, Martin.
Yeah, it's fine.
Martin, you'll be expecting your LP shirt in the mail, and after that, you will only be able to talk about LP, and that's where to buy the detectors. And I hope you read the fine print.
I'm not too sure Nigel would be very happy though. Yeah.
Yeah, of course we're joking. Of course we're all joking.
No, I'm meant to be having a little challenge with Pete at Detectable, actually, if he can remember. I'm not sure if he remembers.
We'll
yeah.
see.
He set me a little challenge.
I hope it's not regarding... Oh, no, it won't be that.
Oh, no, it's just something a bit stupid.
Yeah, so was mine.
Yeah.
Pete's a great guy. Absolutely fantastic. Good deal. Okay, I messed up the show button and tell us all about you and how you got into metal detecting and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so like I was saying, I moved next door to Simon. It was about a year, just over a year ago. And he was going out one day, and I noticed that he had a metal detector with him. So I said to him, "Is it all right if I come and have a walk around with you and watch you and that?" And he was like, "Yeah, come on, mate, you can come around." So I went for a walk with him. I was there for about 6 hours. I was just watching him. He was doing it all. I was just watching. Oh, what's this you've got? I didn't have a clue, to be honest. And I said, "Oh, I think I'm going to get one, and I'll come with you." He only had one permission at the time as well, so that was a bit of a thing. But I'll get into that a bit later. So I went and got my first detector. It was a cheap one, a Go Find 60. Was it 66 or 60? The Mine Lab one. Yeah, I got one of them, and I had it for about 2 weeks, and it just wasn't enough for me. So I went and got a Garrett 300i after that, because I knew I was going to enjoy the hobby. I was already hooked just from walking around the field with Simon. So I went and got the 300i. I think I had that 2 months, and then I thought I need something a bit better again. So I went and brought the Macro Racer 2, and I loved that machine. I did really well with that. I found my first hammered coin, first Roman coin. I found so many good things with the Racer 2. It really is a good machine. And then, like I say, and it was the same again. I had that about 2 months, and then I thought I want the next one up. So I went and got. I was watching iDetect and all them on YouTube and that, and then I thought, you know what, I'll try. At the time, he was using the Nocta Impact, so I thought, oh, I'll get the Impact. So I went and got the Nocta Impact, and I loved that. That was a great machine as well. I got my first gold find with that one. I think I had 2 gold finds with that. I got a lovely pendant, St. Christopher, and then a Celtic knot wedding band, white gold. It was 14 carat. That was a nice find. And then I think it was February or March, I got the chance to use the ORX, and I've not looked back since. I love it. Absolutely love it.
I'm sorry, what's the last one you got?
The XP ORX.
Okay. You know, I've heard really good things about that. My co-host on Tuesday nights, he's got several detectors, but he's a big fan of the ORX. And I'll tell you, what's kind of weird to me is here, well, everywhere across the world, I think right now, the 800 is the Equinox 800 is probably the most popular, and he doesn't like that. He's really struggled to like that, and there's so many things, but he loves the ORX. He's one of those people that he's got probably 15 detectors at any time, but he much more prefers the ORX and the Amphibio over the 800, and I've heard a lot of people say that, but yet the popularity of that Equinox is just crazy. But I've heard great things about the ORX.
Oh, it really is a great machine. Well, Simon, who does the videos, he uses the Equinox 600. Okay. And one day we did a little swap. I tried it, and I lasted about half an hour. I couldn't get on with it at all. I don't know. It just didn't sit right with me. I didn't feel comfortable using it. Just not for me.
Yeah. Oh, and that happens. I mean, I think at this point, you definitely couldn't say the Equinoxes aren't good detectors, but they just don't fit for some people. Something that works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. But he likes his ORX. That's what he uses in the field most of the time now. He's got a Rudis. He spends a lot of time with the Rudis. One of the things he loves about the ORX, I think or one of the big selling points, and I get this the older I get, is how light it is. It gets the job done too. Don't get me wrong. He likes some of the features, but he goes, like his Rudis, he thinks it outperforms it a little bit. But he said, when I'm going to go swing in a field with bean stubble everywhere, it's so hard to pick anything other than that detector. He said, Mike, it's like swinging your arm. It's so light. And but I hear it's brilliant.
Yeah, it really is. It really is a great machine. I've not had any problem. I know a few people have had little issues with it. They think it digs up a bit too much iron, gives off too much of a nice tone, but I've never really had that myself. Not at all. And I know a few people have said that they have, and it always baffled me a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it was just a bit strange. Oh, I'm digging up this iron all the time. Well, I'm not sure how, because it's not happened to me, and a lot of other people are saying that they're getting on with it fine, but yeah. Who knows?
Tony Kaywood said there is a perfect machine, the Rudis Salter 71. I do love that detector. I am a huge fan, without a doubt, Tony. I'm with you. It's I don't think any detector's perfect, but man, is that a good one? That is a good one. We're getting a lot going on in the chat. I apologize for interrupting, and it's like talking in both. Kim said to tell you to tell me about the ghost story.
Oh, not the ghost. Well, I think it was this week actually. I went into the woods. I was doing a bit of detecting. I like being in the woods. I really enjoy it. And I went in. I did like the normal patch that I do. It's quite a nice clear opening in the woods. So I was doing it, but I wasn't finding much. So I thought, I'm going to head over there. I've never been over there. So I turned the detector off and I just walked, and I got into this little zoned area. It was all a bit bushy, a bit grassy on the floor. And I'm looking around, and I can just sense something. That I couldn't see it, but I could sense it. There was something not right in the area. So I'm there and I'm detecting. I dug this hole and I'm digging this hole, and I'm thinking there's someone behind me. I can sense it. So like an idiot, I put it on my Facebook group. Everyone's laughing at me and that. So I left. I ended up leaving. I had to go. I had to go home. I went home and I thought to myself, I'm not going to let it beat me. I'm going to go back. I went back the next day. I lasted 10 minutes. I was gone. It was just something in the air. It was like an aura. It was horrible. I'll never go back again.
You realise I'm going to have to come with you there, don't you?
Well, you can if you like, but I'll stay in the bit that's not haunted.
I was parapsychologist for 15 years, so I was more than intrigues me things like that.
Martin, you're not going to be made fun of here. We've both had our own experiences. I've had experiences. I think it's interesting. I think that I had an experience many years back. I told a few friends, and it surprised me because I shared my story how much support I got instead of being made fun of, which was what I really expected. And I had people come out and share their experiences, and it was pretty overwhelming because I really thought I'd be made fun of. And I find a lot of us detecting while we're detecting or finds, we've had experiences, and I've had both. I mean, I found something, everybody's heard it. I'm not going to talk about it again, but, it really shook me for a little bit. And, I feel like there was definitely something attached to that find, but, that same woods that I found it in, I went there once and then I wouldn't go back. I grew up in the woods and hiking and fishing and even at a pretty young age, metal detecting. I was late teens by then, but I was very familiar with being in the woods. I love it. I love getting away and being by myself in the woods and the peace and quiet. And, when I found this site, I knew that there had been a house back there, and I'd found an old foundation. And I'm telling you what, I couldn't stand to be in those woods by myself. I felt like I was being watched. Like you said, there's, like you could feel an energy or something back there. And I couldn't do it. I had to go back with friends. I would only go back there with friends. And then I had that experience with a find back there. I found something, and boy, it really shook me. But it is interesting how many of us have, even if you don't hear about them, even if they won't admit it on YouTube or in big groups or anything, you would be surprised at how many of us have had experiences.
Yeah, I put it on Twitter as well, and quite a few people started telling me their stories, and one stuck in my head. One guy was saying he saw a guy in the middle of the field, and he thought he was like struggling. He was like looking on the floor for something. This guy, so he walks over. He says, and as he gets closer, he like disappeared. I don't know if he was having me on or not, but he sounded serious when he was telling me.
Right.
And he went, so he started detecting like where he saw the guy and that, and he said he ended up digging up 11 silver coins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he was pretty adamant that he was telling the truth as well.
Yeah, I believe, hey, without a doubt, I believe. You know, how many times have you guys been detecting, and all of a sudden, for some reason, you just make a hard left turn or right turn or whatever, and it's, you know, you find something good, and you almost feel like, wow, what made me turn? Why did I all of a sudden feel the need to take a hard left or whatever? When I get on a site, and once I'm on it and I'm finding stuff, I grid. And I have literally been gridding along, and then just like all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, why am I walking off here? You know, and then you hit something. It's like, it's weird.
Do you know, Mike, I'm exactly the opposite. I'll walk around and I'll feel the need to go one way, and I'll still find nothing and think, I should have carried on that way.
You'll get it. It happens. We all have bad days. We all have. Yeah, I mean, there's times I've walked off and, you know, and don't find anything or whatever, but sometimes I feel like I've almost been led to something. You know.
Yeah, I've felt like that before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll tell you a really neat experience that I don't know if I ever shared here. Many years ago, I got a gentleman into field hunting. He'd had some serious health issues, and I got him into. What had happened? He'd bought a metal detector, and the place he bought it from didn't help him or anything, and he called me for help, and so I helped him with it. And you know, he was brand new to the hobby. He didn't know what he wanted to do, and I said, why don't you try field hunting? You're surrounded by fields. You know, I can help you overlay. I can teach how to overlay. But, you know, so what we usually do, quite a bit different, I think, than what you guys are doing over there. You know, our history doesn't go back as far as yours. So what I would do is overlay the maps, find the houses on 1800s maps is about as far as our maps go back of like actually where houses were and stuff, county maps. And I'd find the ones that, you know, the house has been gone at least 100 years. And we were out in a cornfield. The corn's all down, obviously. We only hunt in the fields when the crops are out. And all of a sudden, he's, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 yards away from me. And I'm aware of his the general area he's at. And when I get into my zone, I'm just listening to tones, and I'm watching where I'm walking and stuff, looking for arrowheads, Indian artifacts as I'm walking. And just all of a sudden, this chill came over me. And I mean, like, the hair standing up on your back, neck, you know, heebie-jeebies, man. And I look up, and he's got a big smile on his face, and probably... I mean, it's been a lot of years ago, so I'm not exact sure on the details. I'm going to guess 50 yards away behind him, a little dust devil popped up, you know, which is like a teeny tiny miniature little tornado looking thing. And it's just swirling around. It's going 30 yards off to the east and then back to the west. And then, you know, it's just going all over the place. And all of a sudden, and the whole time it's working its general direction towards him. And he's just got a big smile on his face, and that thing just blew right through him and then just dissipated. And I am telling you, something got my attention because I was in the groove, and just all of a sudden, like that, you know, like I said, I just got this odd feeling over me, and my hair stood up on my neck and stuff. It was very interesting. Very neat. I think you need to go back there. You know, that just because you feel something doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah, I think it might be because it's the first time I've experienced that, and it's like a fresh part of the woods that I've not been in, so maybe that played into it as well. I'm not too sure. But it's like, I've been out again today. I've just got another woodland permission today, and I went in for half an hour. It's a bit overgrown at the minute, so I need to wait for winter for that one. But the permission I got, it's going to be great. I've got a really good feeling about this one. I don't want to stay too much because I don't want to give the location away. But
No, of course not.
There's a 12th century monastery at one side. There's a priory from the 1300s. Oh, it's going to be great. It really is. So I'm looking forward to that one. And like I say, that's another woodland one. I really do enjoy the woods. I just love the woods.
Yeah, me too. It's great when you can be out in the woods.
Yes, I just feel more at peace. I'm not quite sure, but that's how I feel. I feel peaceful in the woods.
Right. Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
That's very
Except for, like I say, the other day, that was a disaster.
right. Dave, I'm curious, have you ever done any paranormal investigations involving woods?
I think so. Gosh, Mike, you're stretching my mind now. I think I have, yeah. One over in Yorkshire, definitely. I can vaguely remember doing that, more or less. And there was a site of a Civil War battle, English Civil War, the proper one, back in the 1600s. Not the Civil War that they go on about America. That was not really a war, was it? Anyway, yeah. So it's all. I've personally witnessed some peculiar events. I really have, but more the case of I've witnessed things that I've been able to explain a lot of things that have gone on via psychology, via medical, via natural cause phenomena in the location. But I've witnessed things that have no explanation, which therefore would pop into the paranormal guidelines. But I've done woods, been everywhere, inside and out. So yeah,
You've done it all, haven't you?
Oh mate, 15 years of it. And then it all became, to be fair, it become like metal detecting in the UK's come now, where everyone's doing metal detecting isn't going out and getting a site for yourself and your friends and doing metal detecting like that. It's become more group orientated, as in there's money involved, and that's how it went in the paranormal. A fair amount of people, paper booze, I called them, paid to go and have a ghost hunt. And that was one of the things that one of the issues that ended the love of the subject for me, which is why I try and keep away from paid digs, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
As I'm sure, well, Martin, we spoke about before the show, we've been on group digs and a similar thing, and it's just, to me, far too diluted, and you don't know the actual history of the site. You don't know what it's been done on there before. It's, in a lot of cases, it is just money making. And please don't get me wrong, anyone that's listening, I'm saying that of everybody, but a lot of it is just pure thoroughbred money making, tax free money making.
Yeah, it's a little bit annoying as well, because on some of the group digs, I mean, I've been with some good groups, I'm not going to lie, I've had decent finds on group digs, but a lot of them exaggerate about the history, and that's what annoys you. They'll put Roman villa or whatever. The Roman villa's 18 miles away.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, you've sold the dig on that. You've sold it on that, and it's a complete lie. So, and then everybody turns up, you get 60 people turn up, and the best thing they find is a modern 20 pence.
Yeah. And as Ian says in the thingy, yes, in some cases it is a business, but in a lot of cases it's not a business at all. It's people pure profiting, giving the farmer X amount of money and making an X amount of money, that complete profit that goes in their pocket without any fees being paid on that money in any way, shape or form. And that's where I'm getting at. Obviously, we've had on the show Chris Langston from Metal Detecting Holidays. Chris luckily owns a large piece of land which he gives access to other people to. and that is a business. But at the same time, he knows the history. He's not going to lie about the history because of all the people who are coming from different places and therefore know exactly what's gone on previously. He's working closely with archaeologists and the finds liaison officer. You know, more or less, well, yeah, or it's not more or less, you know, Chris Langston is running a completely kosher company, as is the metal detectives. We know people, I know a hell of a lot of people who go on the metal detectives groups, digs, and have nothing but good words to say about it. They obviously put the detectable and they put a lot of effort into what they do. So in that case, we know it's a business and we know metal detectives are doing great. But then you've got there's so many people I've come across who are putting digs on, and they are just pocketing several £100s for getting a field and giving the farmer £100. So there you go. Rant's over.
I'd like to comment on this just a little bit. I as long as it's honest and stuff, I don't see a problem with it. So many people out there they don't have the ability and they won't ask permission, and to pay some money to get on a hunt and get the chance. I think they're providing a good service as long as they're keep doing it right and they're not exaggerating, and they are doing the farmers right and they are doing everything correctly. I think it's a great thing. But
Mike, I've got to interrupt. A prime example in Shropshire in the last couple of weeks. Somebody's earned a lot of money via PayPal, getting all the money for the digs, and then disappeared into the Blue Yonder.
Yeah, I saw that.
So and that's not the first time that's occurred. The amount of people who've done that, and also, for instance, last year, a lady dug up a Roman hoard. She took it out of the ground. Obviously, they had all the finds liaison officer and whatnot there, and they found out this hoard had already, most of the coins within it had already been documented and found and treated previously. So somebody had obviously, who was running the event, had buried a hoard, bought it on eBay, buried a hoard. How often does that happen as well? People seeding fields. And again, I wouldn't go there with Chris Langston. He's got a business to run. He's got a very, very, very good reputation, as have the metal detectives group.
Yeah, and I agree. That is bad for the hobby. I mean, we had I don't know the exact details. I don't even know the guy who did it, but I heard of a story. I guess you could say I caught a little bit of the drama of it. A guy put on a hunt, and people paid several $100s to go on this hunt, and he didn't have permission from the right people, and they got kicked off of that property. Everybody lost their money. There's things here that happen as well. There's one particular group, probably the biggest group over here. I'm not going to name them. They will go to a site over and over and over again, and it's several $100s to go on one of these digs. And I've known people to go on these digs and find nothing or next to nothing. I mean, not just one person or a handful. I mean, several out of the hundreds that don't find anything. And, so I personally, I'm not a big fan. But I also think it's a little different over there where you guys have the history. Again, if it's done respectfully and right, I think it's a great service. But that's the catch, What about all these ones that aren't doing it right? So I understand.
Yeah. Another one with the group digs as well. It's a lot of them say that they charity digs, but then you never see them post up what's gone to the charity. And I'm thinking, well, if it's a charity dig, shouldn't you be showing the people that have paid what's going to that charity?
Definitely.
Yeah, that's another thing I noticed with a couple. And I think to myself, nah, not for me.
Yep. Yeah, it's, we sure took a wrong turn somewhere. Now I'm all sad and tragic and I cry. And
get back to the ghosts.
Yeah, let's talk about Ghosty Ghost.
So your channel, how long has your channel been running?
It'll be a year on the 7th of August.
Brilliant.
So yeah, it's not been a year yet, but yeah, I've done all right.
And you've got about 1,300 followers in that time.
I think it's 1,872. The last I checked today, I was trying to get up the numbers.
Right.
I wrote a few notes. In case
See,
you ask me these
I must have had the 8 as a 3.
Yeah, it's surprising with that, to be honest. I never thought anyone would watch. It was like I said to Simon one day, I'm going to video it the next time we go out. And he's like, don't be daft, no one will watch us. And I was like, no, I'll do it. It's just for us. We can watch it back if we find something good. It's something for us to remember. So that was the reason we did it, just so we can look back and like relive that moment of finding something good. Fair enough, we can look at it. We've got it in a collection, but we wouldn't have been able to relive it. So by having the video, we can always go back and check on that.
Yeah.
And that was the only reason, really. And as for a laugh, I really didn't think anyone would watch, to be honest. But yeah.
To be fair as well, the amount of people who are making YouTube videos, the likes of me, who is a technophobe when it comes to the machine, there's more than one person I can go to look at router Salter 71 settings and the manner of which person is using their tools to be able to go away and come up with my own way of doing it. So it's a fantastic thing that so many people are doing it, including yourself.
Yeah, I like it.
The only thing I hate is, I don't mind when somebody's new to the hobby or new to their detector and they say, this is how I have it set up and, whatever. But like I mentioned earlier, these people that are, I feel strongly that if you're going to judge a detector on air testing, you're not doing your followers any kind of service. And, I've seen these people that are new to the hobby and, this is how you set your detector up for this. And, that doesn't always, I feel like your time in the hobby should more represent your true knowledge, and it's okay. We don't, I'm still learning and there are things that I don't know. I just got a question the other day and I said, I really don't know. Let me talk to some people I trust and get back with you. And I feel like there's so many people that are just trying to, that just want to tell you they know it all and they're leading people astray, But I do like the videos. I watch a lot of people and I think it's really cool and I'm just depressed. You guys depressed me with the hunts now. That's all there is to it. I think I need to go cry and lay in bed or something. I don't know.
Or drink loads of moonshine and make yourself blind seeing it's Independence Day.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's what I should be doing. That'll make me forget about it. If I end up in the hospital, Dave, it's your fault. You guys talking all this sad talk.
Do you pay insurance, medical insurance?
Yeah.
Well, you're covered. Go and get blind.
Yeah. I think you're on to something. I think you're on to it.
But make sure that Steph doesn't, because obviously it's the children to look after.
Right. Yeah, she's actually more of a drinker than I am. It's usually me staying sober. She's really responsible, though. She rarely gets drunk, but boy, on the 4th, I got a feeling I'm going to be carrying her to bed tonight. There's a good chance.
Tell her from me, let you have the drink and not her. That comes direct from me.
Okay, I'll tell her that. Hopefully she's listening in. And she'll, you can tell her yourself.
She'll come in and smash your head in.
I'm going to be real honest with you. She's 5'2", a badass. I don't know that I got the nerve to tell her all that. She might hurt me. Might sound funny next week because I got a broken nose. She's tough.
So, Martin, what would be your eyes, your favourite find?
My favourite find? Well, it goes back to the story earlier that Mike was saying, like, sometimes you get that urge to go somewhere different, just take that turn. Well, I got this new field. There was 2 fields. And I went on the first one, and it was insane. My brother dug up a Commonwealth hammered coin. First one he'd ever had. I walked a bit further up the field, and I think I dug up a Lizzie hammered coin. So it's more of a favourite field, but it does lead to the find in a minute. It's just like a bit of a long story.
Oh,
so then I'd never found a silver Roman coin. My brother went and found one in this same field, and I was a bit gutted, but I cracked on. I thought, if he's got one, there's got to be another one. So I went and found one, and it was better than his, so I was happy about that. So then carried on going, and I got my first matrix seal. And then I said to my brother, I'm going to head towards that tree. There's just something about that tree. So I started walking towards this tree, and I dug up 7 Victorian just copper coins, pennies, like all 1861 and 1862 in the same like little spot. Like dug 2 holes, got 7 coins in total. So I carried on towards the tree. I got a couple more coins. It was like, I don't know if it was an old path or something that had been forgotten about, and it had just grown over with the grass and the pasture because they had the cars on there and what have you. So I carried on walking. I got to this tree and I got this tone. It was on the ORX as well, actually. It was not too long after I got it. And it was belting in a 86. Lovely tone. And a few minutes before, when I was walking, I dug up a Victorian sixpence, and that was coming in at 86. The same kind of tone. And I thought, I said to my brother, I think I've got another silver. It sounds exactly the same as that last one. So I dug it down, got down, started digging it. And then got a bit out, and I could see like a bit of gold glinting in the bottom. And I saw this gold, and I said to my brother, I said, I think I've got some of the yellow stuff here. And he come across, and he went over it with a racer too, because he uses my old machines. So he went over it with that, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know, it sounds a bit iffy on mine." So I like carried on digging down, got a bit more, and I could see like the top of like a locket, like the bit that the chain goes through the loop. Mm-hmm. I could see that. Yeah, I could see that bit, and I thought, no, this is gold. So I got it out, and it was massive. It was 19.8, nearly 20 grams.
Wow.
Of pure gold. It was not 18. It was solid gold. And we opened it up. It had 3 locks of air in it, and on the front there was a symbol. It said, what was the letters now? CLR was the letters. I'm not sure if I should say the name of who it was because of people. No, but I should be all right. So yeah, it belonged to a guy called Sir Colonel Lancelot Rolleston. That was the guy's name. His old big arse used to be on there. He led troops in the Boer War in South Africa and everything. He was appointed High Sheriff of Nottingham, where I live. So like your Robin Hood, but it not that old. It was like 1800s, 1900s. But it turned out it belonged to the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Wow.
So that was a really great fight. I went to show my farmer. I took it to the farmer, and he like looked at the symbol on it, and he took me round the back to where his barns was, and he pointed up to a block on the wall. It was a big sandstone block, and it had the exact same carving in it that was on the locket.
Wow.
Oh, that is so cool.
It was crazy. He knew what it was straight away. Obviously, I didn't know at that point. But as soon as, because I went straight to him, as soon as I found it, I says, "Come on, let's go and I've got to go and show him. I've got to go and show him," because I was excited, like wanted to let him know, be right, and what have you. And he says, "Here, come with me." Like I say, he took me around the back, and all he did was point up. He didn't say anything. He just pointed up to this sandstone block in one of his barns, like the old barns from like ages ago, and what have you. And there it was, the same exact symbol. It was unreal. It really was unreal.
That's incredible.
It was crazy.
That is what a neat story. Did you get hey, I don't know if you thought about it or if you have, but you need a picture of that block.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea, actually, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kind of document it.
Yeah, he's a really nice farmer as well. That's what I mean. I took him off the value of it. I said, "What's it worth?" And I says, "I'm not too sure." So I got in touch with the museum. They said because it was only 1800s, it wasn't really for them to look at, like, if you know what I mean. It needed to be 300 years old.
Yeah.
Even though it was gold, 22 grams of gold, he says we could do it, but there's not really much that we can do. But it really was. It was a great find for the local area anyway, and for me, because I've lived in that area like most of my life. Used to play around there when I was a kid, and then to find that, it was like, that's the pinnacle for me so far anyway. Just the history to it, where it was found. Yeah, it was great.
That's incredible. Wow. I'd love to see a picture of it.
Yeah, I think Scott's got a picture. I've sent Scott a picture. He knew the story already. There's not many people that actually told that story too. People knew I found it because it was on the video, but I didn't put the history to it because I didn't want people turning up and giving me a bad name with like the farm because they found out where it was and what have you.
Right.
So it's the first time I've actually shared what it actually was.
That's incredible. That is incredible. What's your oldest find?
My oldest find it'll probably be the silver Roman coin or Roman brooch.
Wow. That's really cool.
I've had some good finds.
I think it's funny that they don't even, it's got to be 300 years old, and our history is so new compared to your guys. That's why I love doing this podcast so much. I mean, I love doing the United States show. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but I really look forward to this one and talking to everybody and hearing about your guys' finds and stuff. It's just incredible to me. Just incredible. Yeah, that's neat.
It's like I say, it's like the field of dreams. Ever since we got that field, first Roman, first hammered, first big gold, first seal, matrix seal. So many first silver thimble on that field, a Victorian one. That was nice.
Wow.
I'd never had one. All in this same little patch, or like little area. It's only it's probably a 10-acre field. Not even big.
Wow, that's incredible. That's a lot of stuff to come out of that little field, isn't it?
Oh, it's insane. Simon had a gold ring on there. My brother's had a gold ring with diamonds in on there.
Wow.
We've had some crazy stuff on that bit of land.
Awesome.
We've got a lot more land there, but they were just the pasture fields. Obviously, we've only been able to go on the pasture at this time of year since we got that permission a few months back. All the crops was already in and that. But there's so much land to go out. There's about 2,000 acres on this farm.
Oh, goodness.
Farm.
Oh, that's incredible.
And that's like I say, we've only had like the 2 or 3 pasture fields to play on, so we've got a lot of land to be going at there. So that should be, there should be some more good stuff coming out, hopefully. Keep it going.
Oh, that'll be exciting to hear about. I want to jump back. I almost forgot about it. Matter of fact, I did, and then I remembered. Aaron from South Coast Detecting has a question for you. How'd you get started on YouTube? Were there any channels that you enjoyed that made you get involved?
Yeah, well, like when I first started with Simon, after I went that day, I started watching Aaron was actually one of the videos that I watched first, to be honest. The first ones I was like watching Aaron and Digger Dawn and that, Addicted to Bleeps. I was just watching all them kind of ones, a few American ones as well. I actually like Relic Recovery, Jocelyn, I like her. She does some good videos. But yeah, it was like Aaron, iDetect, people like that to start with, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh,
and that's like I said, Simon, I just gave it a try, and we took off. We did well. We're doing well.
Good. I like. It's hard for me with the kids and the baby to get much time, but I do like to. Sometimes when I get that rare opportunity to watch videos, or I might stay up late and after everybody's gone to sleep and catch a couple videos, but it's hard for me. Aaron just put your channel in the. Put a link in the chat, so if anybody's interested, the link is in the chat. And then also, tell us how to find your channel.
It's the Divvy Detectorist on YouTube. I've got a Facebook group as well.
Okay, and it's 2V, Divvy.
Yep, that's right, yep.
And
Detectorists.
And can find you on Facebook as well, okay. Scott just posted your group. So that's great.
The Facebook group's good. We have a laugh in there. I'm always giving like little bits away, stickers, and I had a nice box made like with the logo on and that. I was always doing little giveaways on there if anyone wants to join in and that. So yeah.
Oh, great. Dave, are you passing out on me, buddy?
I'm on my way.
Yeah. Dave has been working really hard and wore out, and poor Dave.
Dave's up at 4:30 in the morning as well.
Yeah. I'm a little worried you're going to pass out on us. That happens, though. I understand. You start snoring, we're going to cut you out, though.
I think I've only ever fell asleep once while we've done the show, admittedly. And it was a very technical show, if I remember.
Yeah.
And I actually woke myself up snoring.
Oh, that's funny. That is so funny.
I'm going to leave you. I'm therefore going to leave you both to it. That's okay, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely.
Done the news. We've had a nice chat, and I'm going to get myself off to Bedfordshire. That's also a place in England, Mike.
That's funny.
So,
I'm sorry.
I'll be back. We'll be back next week, obviously, with a return of Mike Smith, giving us the unexplicated version of events that have been transpiring in South Wales regarding the Iron Age chariot. So I'll make sure I have a load of Red Bull and Tramadol to keep me awake for that one. Martin, it's been a pleasure to speak to you, and then hopefully we'll meet up at some point soon. We're so close, and we'll
go in that
have
woods.
a wiggle. Excellent. I'll come in the woods. Definitely.
Yeah, we'll go in the haunted woods.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I'd be curious
let me know, sort it.
I'd be curious if Dave feels anything or what happens when Dave's there.
Everything that's allegedly paranormal runs away when I'm there, so we'll have a dandy time. Find loads of cool stuff, and I'll find nothing but pull rings.
It happens, yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you both, and thank you all for listening tonight. And I'll be in bed by 9 o'clock. I can guarantee that.
Good deal. Sleep good, Dave. Hope you get rested up.
See you, pals. Ta-ra.
Talk to you next week. We'll see you, buddy. Good deal. I'd be real curious about Dave going there. That'd be interesting if you guys do get together and do it. So do you still? It sounds like you still hunt with your neighbor then. That got you into it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I still go with him. But at the minute, like I say, he's got a bad knee, so he's not been able to come for the past few weeks, and he's got to go and have an MRI scan, see if they can sort it out. Hopefully, they can.
That's pretty awesome to have a neighbor as a hunting partner, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
How long's he been detecting? Do you know?
Simon's been detecting 5 years. Well, might be 6 years now because I've been doing it a year. So yeah, probably 6 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's had some great finds. He's had gold coins and all sorts.
Oh wow! You must be in a really rich area. It sounds like.
Yeah, there's a few hot spots. Historical hot spots around. Like I say, the woods permission that I got today, that's a great one. I've got really good feeling about that place. Should be great.
Awesome.
Really looking forward to that. Like I say, with the old priory, 1300s and the 1200s monastery, and it's crazy. It's a good little area. Yeah,
that is really neat. I'm wondering if that was what's your favorite find? Was that
my favourite find? This is going to sound a bit. You're going to think, why is that your favourite find?
Hold on before you tell it. I got to tell you this. The reason I asked this, I asked one of my very first guests ever that question, and I almost felt silly asking it. We never ask value. It's not about, and this person told me this really, really neat. He'd found so many cool stuff, so many cool things, and what he actually told me wasn't all that great. Like, I'm thinking, why is he? But then there was a story behind it. So when we ask that question, it's been amazing to me how many cool answers we get. That's, it's usually not anything valuable. They have things that are really much more of historical significance and stuff. And we've had some. So please go ahead. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. It's similar to that. There's a story to it, and this is the reason why. When I was younger, I was meant to go to Vegas with my dad and my auntie and that, and I ended up having an accident and I broke my collarbone, I fractured my shoulders, and I went into a rugby post. I had a number done on me. I was in a bad way for at least 3 months, so I missed out on going. I had to stay at home with my mum, and they all went. So they was having the time of their life. And anyways, we got this field. We call it the Victorian Fairground Field. We've had some good stuff on there as well. But we call it the Victorian Fairground Field. But the thing that I found, it was a 1980s $1 casino chip.
Oh.
And the reason it's my favourite find is because I missed out on going to Vegas, but I ended up finding one in the field. So it just always stuck with me.
Yeah, how cool is that?
Yeah, it's like my lucky little coin. I always carry it around and that when I go detecting or whatever. It's always around somewhere.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, That's so cool. Yeah, I love asking that question. That started off as almost as an accident out of being nervous. We have had some of the most incredible answers, and I like that one. That's a really good one. You found that, and it made you think of that instantly, didn't it?
Yeah, that was it straight away. It was the first thing that popped into my head when I found it. It was great.
Yeah,
it made up for it in a way.
And I'm guessing a lot of them probably aren't found over there.
No, that's it. Yeah, it was quite a surprise. When I first dug it out, it was the exact same size as a cartwheel penny, if you know what one of those is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the exact same size as one of them, and I thought it was a cartwheel, and I cleaned it, and it started having this, it looked like a fruit machine on the front of it. And I thought, I've got a lovely token here. And then when I flipped it over and it said like $1 chip, I thought, it's mint, really, yeah. Yeah, it made my day. One of my favourite finds ever.
Yeah, that's a really cool story. I'm glad I asked you that. What else? Any other cool stories? You got any good, your favorite hunt story or good day or interesting things that have happened?
Yeah, like I say, the favourite one still, it's got to be when I found the gold, because I was finding so much. Yeah. It wasn't just the gold, it was the build-up to the gold, and there was just so much there. But favourite, it's got to be when I found that. It's got to be. Because it was just, for the area that I was in, that was like the pinnacle of finds for that location, really. There was nothing that I could have found that would have been more perfect for that area, because he had his house there, he was the sheriff of Nottingham, he was a war hero, he led troops in the Boer War. The king, I did a lot of research, and my granddad said to me, he says he can remember when he was a child, before the Rolleston actually died, he said the royal carriage used to come and pull up at the old train station, and they'd go there, and there's a woods, and they used to have a royal hunt in there once a year, because he was good friends with the king. So yeah.
Oh wow!
So that was a great story as well.
Now, have you hunted the woods much?
Yeah, I've done the woods. I've had a few decent finds in there. I've had old spindle walls. I got a silver brooch. I've had a silver brooch, but it was only like 1900s. I've had old coins in there. I've had a couple of silver coins and that, but no Roman. But we've had Roman on the field at the side of the woods, but not in the woods. But I'd imagine there's got to be some in there.
It's really hard for me to do this show and hear about all of our great guests' finds, and just sitting here in the United States. And I recently talked to a friend who he's in a club with a guy who's had several trips over to England, and this guy's a very well accomplished detectorist here in the United States and has made some incredible finds. But he was telling my friend, he said, it's really hard to detect in the United States after you've been over in England. He said, you find a coin that's 300 years old over there, and he said, I've been over there enough. He was telling my friend he'd been over enough times, and it's like, 300-year-old coin, no big deal. It's not Roman, and he said you almost get spoiled. And then you come back to the United States, and people are finding a coin that's 150 years old, and they're like, yeah, check this out, and he said it's very different. It was hard for him, and I hope to someday be in the same boat as him. I hope to be not enjoying hunting here in the United States, because I've been over to England so many times. I love history, so it's not even about the find for me. I've given so much to property owners and stuff over the years. I love finding it. I love to be able to tell the story. One of the reasons I love hunting old house sites, or taverns, hotels, been gone over 100 years, is by the time I detect that, it's told me a story. When you spend hours upon hours and, go back and spend more hours, and find this stuff at where this house was 150, 200 years ago, it really tells a story about their life and how they lived and stuff. And, I love that. That's the thrill for me. It's not the finds. And I love the electronics. I love learning new detectors and testing them and, seeing which one does what better and stuff. So, that's kind of where I've really gotten at. I remember my first few years of detecting, it was the finds. The first silver coin, the first mercury dime, the first seeded dime, the first cat bust. But then you find enough of that stuff, and I've evolved now to where it's like I really love trying out new detectors, and I still love the history, but the finds just don't mean as much to me. I love putting them in a little display case and giving them back to the farmers who their family has lived on the property for a few generations. That's the thrill to me with the finds, knowing we only keep our finds for so long before we're gone. If I give it back to that farmer and he loves the history, it might stay there for hundreds of years. They might hold on to that. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. And I'm sure you're still in the stage where you want to find it all and you can't even think about giving anything up, probably.
Well, I've got a farm. There used to be an old mine, like 1800s mine, like coal mine on one of the farms, and the farmer, Matt, his name is, he's a really nice bloke, and he was there, and I says 50-50, like going through your 50-50, your terms of the, like, what you find and that, and he was like, I only want 50-50 if you find something worth £2 million. I went, all right, fair enough. and the very first day I went on, I found a Celtic wedding knot, white gold. I found that, and I took it to him, and he was like, I found this, mate, do you want it? Or I offered it him, like, because at first I'd been on, I think it was actually the second hole I dug.
Wow.
And he says, no, you've dug it up, keep it. And then I went, I've got these miners tokens here. And his face lit up. I'd found something that meant something to him. His grandfather actually used to work on the mine that's on his farm, that used to be on his farm.
How cool
so his
is that?
Grandfather worked. So, like, he says, I wouldn't mind having them because my grandfather used to work down there before it got all filled in and what have you. I was like, yeah, of course. So now every time I go on, if I find any, I'll always take them round and hand them in to him or his wife at the end. So, he always gets to keep them.
Yeah, that's amazing.
He's not just anything. Mm-hmm. Anything else, he's not bothered. You could find 10 gold coins, he's not bothered.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of the same way, especially, when I first got into the hobby, the first couple years at least, I didn't want to give anything up. I don't know why. I just, I wanted it all. But, I was so new to it, I had never found one of those. And you find enough of something, and you're just like, it becomes easier and easier to give stuff up. But it's, well, here's a good one. My buddy stopped at a house. They were tearing it down, and they were taking it away piece by piece, taking it down piece by piece. And these farmers who own these thousands of acres, his dad wanted to tear the house down because they were having trouble getting their semis and the bigger tractors in the driveway, because on one side was this house and on the other side was a telephone pole. So his dad said, I'm going to tear it down. We said, Grandpa, or great-grandpa, I don't remember, always thought that was the original homestead. Let me take the siding off and get rid of some of the drywall and let me see if he's right. And they found the original log cabin was actually put together with wood pins, which tells you for that part of, so that when they settled on that land, iron wasn't readily available yet for that area. So it was an early settler. And so his son, we're talking, this guy's in his 50s, dismantled this whole building and then moved it to his property for his grandkids. That's how much their history meant to him. Well, he gave us permission to hunt, and we hit it several times till I felt like, we just wasn't much left to give, if anything. And we put our stuff in a little display case and gave it to him. And, farmers, they're rough and tumble. They're hard working. I thought this guy was going to cry. That's how much it meant to him. And when you can do something like that, then it gets real easy to give stuff up. Somebody who loves their history and stuff. And, so I enjoy that. I enjoy that as much as I do as finding it, especially when it's people that have passion for the history and for their land.
Yeah, that's it. Like the history of their own land, and that's what happened to a few of the farms that I'm on. They really do. They tell you about it. It's like like the woods I got today. I keep going on about this woods that I got today, but
No.
when I was talking to the landowner, he was saying there's the old quarry. If you go over there, you'll see the quarry that's there, and that's where they took the rock to build the 13th century priory. And I'm thinking, he doesn't need to be telling me this, but it's like, it's a big woods, but there's a boundary. There's actually part of the land is a protected site, so there's like part of it. He's like, show me the boundaries. He says, you can't go there. If you go there, you're in trouble and I'm in trouble. So you've got to stay this side of this. But he was kind enough to take us around, show us where this was. Then he showed us where there was a old 15th century like bungalow kind of thing that had been demolished, and he was like, that might be worth checking once the weeds have died down in the winter. He was really into it. He was giving us the information to help us. So I believe that he's the actual same. If we found anything and took it to him, I think he'd be really, really keen to know. And yeah, it makes it more interesting for you yourself, because then you're going to find out what they think about it, what story they've got to say about what you've found, and what it means to them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it? Yeah, see, most of those farmers, I mean, I find here in the United States, at least, a lot of them know the history of their property, you know, and sometimes going back generations. It's really incredible to me. Really incredible. So,
I mean, I've been quite lucky with getting permission. Like I said, I've only been detecting a year, but my granddad he had orchards and he grew his apple trees and his pears. So he was kind of a farmer himself. So, like I say, when I first got into it, Simon only had 2 fields. He had 1 permission, 2 fields. I got into it. I went to my granddad and he gave me a few to get into. I mean, I think now I've possibly got about 8,000 acres in total in under a year.
Oh, wow.
And that's basically because I knew somebody that knew farmers, if you know what I mean. I know a lot of people struggle. They'll go and meet, but because my granddad knew them, it made it a lot easier for me to get in with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I was like, so that was, I think that's what makes it a bit easier for me as well. I've not got to worry about going on these club digs and group digs because I've got quite a bit of the area that I live.
Yeah. I'm from Ohio and I live in Texas now, and it's really hard for me to get permissions. You know, I don't have the southern slang is one of my issues, and I'm just not from around here. You know, where I'm from, my family were builders for 3 generations, home builders, and you know, people know the name, and it's, you know a lot of farmers when you've been in the same community for so long. But then when you move somewhere you're not known, nobody knows you. You didn't go to school with anybody local. It's really difficult, very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a huge advantage.
Yeah, because like I say, when I've gone a bit further afield and like I've felt that myself, like a bit of a coldness to you. Well, it's all about trust. I think. I think you need a bit of trust, and then it's like, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I always drop one of the farmers' names. I always try and say, well, I'll try and think of the nearest one to the farm. Well, I know him, and he's like, oh yeah, and like, I always offer to do odd jobs as well. I've ended up doing guttering for one of my farms. I've gone up and out one with his sheep, move his sheep and clear his sheep out.
Oh, I think that's a great idea. Yeah, absolutely, great idea.
Yeah, in a couple of the videos you can see where I'm doing guttering. I just like showing it at the start of the video, doing this guttering for farms. Let people know that it's not all about taking. Like, if you can give a bit to them, then they're more likely to let you go on the land. They're not thinking that you're all about yourself, and that's how I see it.
That's
so
a great
I always
way.
make sure I offer a day's work or anything like that if they need it.
Oh, that's great. I think that's a brilliant way to be. I've done the same thing. I'm trying to think if I've ever been taken up on it. I can't think of where I've been taken up on it, but I've done that. Yeah, if you need something around here, I'd be more than happy to help you, you know. But yeah, I think that's great. You know, when you were talking about dropping another farmer's name, they know each other.
Oh,
and
yeah.
If you make one of them mad, you've got problems. But I agree. I know I moved to before I moved to Texas. I moved about an hour and a half away from where I grew up, and I lived there the last several years. And you know, it's hard even to a new area. You know, even though I was from Ohio and everything, and nobody knew me. And but I would do that if I got in with one farmer. You know, I would say, you know, hey, I've been hunting on so-and-so's land, and I was doing some research. You know, even just throwing a name out there makes them a little bit easier. a little bit at ease, and okay, well, John Smith let him on his property. Maybe you'd be okay if I let him on mine. And so no, I think that's a great way to go about it. And I think if you're going to do it, if you want to be in this hobby long term and you want to keep being able to get into places, you better treat those farmers right.
That's it.
Of course, I'm not telling you that, but people out there listening, you mess up with one farmer and it can mess up things really bad. And sometimes they can be finicky. I know here in the United States, boy, they can definitely be finicky sometimes, and you definitely don't want to make them mad. You definitely don't want to. I've got a friend who I'll tell a quick story. He's been hunting Indian or Native American artifacts since he was a kid. Now he's in his late 40s, early 50s. And he's lived in the same area his whole life. And he's known these farmers forever. Well, just this past fall, he was hunting some different properties, and he called the owner up and he said, hey, you mind if I go out to this one piece of property? He said, no, go on out there. They haven't planted or anything. Well, he went out there and they had just planted. He didn't know this, but he could tell work had been done in the field. He thought maybe they'd just come through and knocked it down. They deep plowed it or something and flattened it out before they planted. Well, when he was leaving, so the guy that gave him the permission, the owner of all the property, lives a few miles away. Well, his son lives on the actual property he was detecting. And he went up there when he was leaving to talk to him about another piece of property. And he said, yeah, we just left that back field. And he said, we just planted back there.
Oh,
and my friend said, I just talked to so-and-so this morning and said it hadn't been planted and I was good. And he said, well, he's wrong. And, he's like, I don't want you on any of my property right now. He said, no, So even in a complete accident and mistake, he has probably lost thousands and thousands of acres. And I mean, he felt horrible about it. And I can guarantee it's not going to do any damage to that field. It was just planted. It'll be fine. And I told him, I said, he's really stressed out about it. They know all the farmers. They all talk in the area. And so he's quite concerned about it. And I said, give it until fall. Go out and talk to the owner, and smooth it over. It'll be all right. Once they see that you didn't do any damage in their field and their crops are doing great, it'll be all right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how I got the Oh, sorry to butt in.
Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, that's how I got the permission where I actually found the gold. Because I'd asked this farmer. I'd asked him. I must have been getting on his nerves, to be honest. I'd go around every month. But it was because I knew. I just had a good feeling because I knew what was there and what had been there. So I kept going around. He kept saying, "No, not yet, not yet, not yet." He didn't say no. He just kept saying, "Not yet." So then, like I say, I got the other farm where I go and help him with the sheep sometimes and that. So and I got his farm and I was on there and I was like, "Do you know that guy?" And he's like, "Yeah, I know him." And I was like, "Can you have a word with him or something?" He's like, "I'm not going to have a word with him, but you can drop my name to him and let him know that I'm all right. And then if he wants to ring me and ask me, I'll confirm that you do it all correct and you give me a hand when I need it and whatever."
Great.
But he wanted me to do it myself. He says, "I'm not going to do it for you, but you can mention my name, and if it comes to it, I will back you up. But you've got to do it yourself," which I thought was fair. It's like a man's way, proper way to do it. So I did that. I went, "Oh well, I do go on Matt's, and he says he knows you, and he's willing to he's willing to verify that I'm all legit. I don't leave a mess. I do everything correct, and I respect your land." And he's like, "Right, leave me a number." So I left him my number, and then it was the very next day he rang me. He went, "Yeah, come down. I'll show you where you can go."
Oh, so, that's great.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a that's a valuable lesson. Be persistent. You never got the no, and be persistent. I'll tell you something. Sometimes, especially on the American podcast, we will get people that haven't been detecting long, and I'll talk to them about coming on the show, and I've only been detecting this long, or whatever, and I don't know that I have much to offer. And it's like, hey, if you've got a passion for the hobby, that's all that matters. And right there, I mean, you've been detecting just a year, and you just shared a valuable piece of information, and it just goes to show you don't have to be in the hobby 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years to to be able to offer up some good, because that's brilliant. I love that you were persistent like that and kept going back. And most of us wouldn't. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I would have. I probably would have blown it off like, I'm never going to get permission from this guy, but your persistence, that is brilliant. And good job, man. Good job.
Well, actually, it's the closest one to where I live as well. To be fair, that's why I wanted it so much as well, because it's just easy. I can just walk out the door. It's a 10-minute walk. Nice day. I can just walk to it. It's no travelling, no nothing. But he just kept saying, no, not now, not now, not now. But he never got mad. He got angry. But yeah, and they're all pally with me now on Facebook, and him and his wife's got me on Facebook. The daughter, they're always liking me pictures and that. And
oh, that's awesome, man. That's great.
So yeah, that all turned out all right. A bit of persistence paid off.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great advice. As long as you don't get no and you're not angering anybody, keep going back. I've done it some. Yeah. I've had a few that I really wanted on their property, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I want anybody out there. Okay, I understand. Give them a call back in a couple months, or go out and visit him. And I had one. It took me probably about 5 or 6 conversations. He lived kind of a good distance from me, so after the first time, I said, well, do you mind if I call you from time to time? She said, yeah, I guess that'll be okay. And so I called, and he finally gave me permission. I got on there, and it was worth it. I'll tell you what, it was worth every bit of that persistence. There were some great finds. I know not the same as you guys, but it was a town that had disappeared by 1830s, and especially in Ohio, that was very early site. So just a farm field, and at one time it was several houses, even a post office, which was very early for that time of Ohio, and post office, tavern, hotel. It paid off huge, and so yeah, I agree. Persistence, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think sometimes you get a feeling about a permission as well. Before you've even been on, you have this feeling, a good feeling about some of them.
Absolutely.
And that's what it was with that. That's what I just couldn't let it go. I had to keep trying. Like I say, eventually it paid off. And when I dug up that Victorian Sheriff of Nottingham gold, well, that was it in itself. Yeah, it was just unreal.
I am not sure what's going. I lost chat in my room on my program. I had to open up. I'm just wanting to see. I think we're getting probably time where we could start talking about wrapping it up. Does anybody have any questions for Martin before we get wrapping it up? Now, I know you were talking to Scott earlier. Do you hunt with the Dubays? Are you guys anywhere close to each other?
No, I'm quite far away from them, but we've always spoke since I started doing the videos. I've always spoke to them. I've got them with them great. I love them.
Yeah, they're good people. Both. Very good people. If I ever get over there, they are 2 people that I've got to meet.
Yeah, well, I'm going to meet them at Detectival anyway, so that's one good thing.
Oh, that's cool. Are you going this year?
Yeah, I'm going. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I've never been before. Well, obviously, I've never been before. I've only been detecting a year.
That's kind of my dream, is to come over to Detectival and really not hunt much, but not, that weekend, but then stay like another week and just hardcore hunt sun up to sundown for a week. But I from doing the podcast, I've met so many great people that I would like to talk to and shake their hand and drink a beer with and all that, but then just spend just spend some time talking to everybody, meeting them in person. Ian Watts asked, does every find excite you?
Digging the old does. Digging it up, getting the signal, not knowing what it is excites me for every single one. Mm-hmm. But no, not if I dig a ring pull up, it don't excite me.
Moo tube?
No, not at all. But like I say, digging it before I know what it is, it excites me every time. You never know what it's going to be. It could be an iffy signal and turn out to be great. So you just never know, really, do you?
Right. Scotty B said his first detective he ever done will be one he'll never forget.
I remember seeing what he found.
Yeah, Yeah, that's pretty cool. Scott Dubé says Mike GoFundMe. Mike needs detective all tickets. Yeah, this these kids, man. I'll tell you what. You ever just wake up one day and go, "Why in the hell do I have 3 kids? How did this happen? What the heck?" And then it gives me no good. Then my wife looks at me and she's like, I don't know why we did either. I don't know. I'll tell you what, I joke, but I love every minute of it, and I do. But it does put a little hurting on my metal detecting and stuff. And but my son's 17 months old, and he's getting to where I'll be able to take him out, at least drag him out with me, and he can play around while I'm out detecting. Yeah. I think we're done. Hopefully there's no more drunken nights where she takes advantage of me. Sometimes she, what happens is the kids keep us so busy and we think, oh, we're done. And then she'll go to work and a little kid will come in, a baby or something, and she'll come home all baby crazy and start talking about another one. So I don't know. I don't know if she's going to get me drunk and take advantage of me. Some nights I think she is, and then she doesn't, but it might happen. It might. Who knows?
Yeah.
But any more questions before we wrap it up, guys? If you guys got any questions for us, let us know. But I love it. But I'm hoping here in the next couple of years, and another problem is, I'm from Ohio. She's from Minnesota. We are each over 1,000 miles from where we grew up and our families are. And so it's not like, here, Mom, take Randy for the week or take the kids for the week, which she would love to. But, and I'm going to go over to England for a week and a half or something. It's logistics and stuff is a little bit tough right now.
Yeah. I
think we,
Yeah, I think I'd just like to say, anyone that is going to detect, well, I'll be around, like I say, I'll be around the Regton stand. I know most of the people in the chat I've just seen it want me to go to LP. Keep saying, come to LP, come to LP. But no, I'm a loyal person. I can't do that. Nigel was great because he helped us out when we only had like 200 subscribers and that. He sent us stuff to give away to build the channel and that. So I'll always appreciate that.
That's great. I don't know them, but hey, if you're happy and stuff, I know LP's great. We're big fans of them. They've been wonderful to us and good people.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's giving you a hard time. He's a good guy though.
Yeah.
He's a hoot. He gets on here almost every show and gives us a hard time and makes some jokes and your standard stuff. That happens. All right, everybody. If you got any more questions, let's do it now. It's last call. If you got questions, hit us up. If not, we're going to wrap it up, and I'm going to get started on my 4th of July celebrations. And
Scott wants to know if I'm single. Yeah. I'm not quite sure why he wants to know that.
I think he's got the hots for you.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm starting to think that as well.
He's a good-looking guy. Why ain't you ever ask me if I'm single? Scott, kind of hurting my feelings.
Yeah.
Kind of hurting my feelings over here, man. He said asking for a friend. That's funny. Okay, well, he's not answering that. He said, you're creeping him out, Scott. Stop it.
Yeah. I think I'd rather go back to the haunted woods.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scott's got a new crush. That's funny. Too funny. All right, we're going to wrap it up then. And Martin, thank you so much for coming on. Keep in touch with us, and let's look down the road and bring you back on and share your experience after a little more time in the hobby. Maybe you can give us some more tips and tell us about finds. And I'd love to have your partner on, maybe or your hunting partner.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get him on.
Yeah, we'd love that. And please keep in touch. We'd love to have you back on.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Good. You a little less nervous now?
Yeah, I'm all right now. It was just like that first 5 or 10 minutes, I was just a bit like, ooh.
Yeah.
But no, I'm fine now.
Yeah.
You grow into it a little bit. Once you start talking, it's not too bad.
Can you believe it's been an hour and a half?
I didn't even realise it was that long.
Right? It goes by quick, doesn't it?
It go fast, yeah, really quick.
Next time on, you'll be a lot more at ease and it won't be an issue. You'll know what it's about. It won't be good. Martin, thank you again for coming on. It's been great. Thank you for the great advice. Hey, you taught us all something, reminded me of something. Be persistent.
Yeah,
good
definitely,
job.
100%.
Good job. Thank you for coming on. We'll talk to you again. Keep in touch.
Cheers, mate. Nice one.
All right. Well, there you have it. What a good guy. I enjoyed that. I'm a little. I don't know if you guys can tell. I hope it doesn't play off wrong, but I'm just tired. I was up really late last night, and but I really enjoyed having Martin on. What a great guy. Before we go, on Facebook, North of the Tyne Detecting. Sorry about that, Scotty. Addicted to Bleeps, Metal Detecting, UK Dirt Fishing. I really like the C-Scope 6MXI UK group. I really like the 6MXI. Great detector. All Metal Mode Podcast UK. YouTube, on YouTube, check out Huntress Kimmy and Clodhopper Scott. Love them guys. Good people. Addicted to Bleeps. Shilling King Metal Detecting UK. TC Detects. He uses a Rudis. I gotta watch that guy since I'm such a big fan of Rudis. Grim Bleepers and South Coast Detecting. So check them all out. Great people. Don't forget, if you need a metal detector and need equipment, visit all of a sudden here at the end, I'm all tongue-tied. LP Metal Detecting. It's www.leisure-promotions.co.uk. Good night, everybody, and thank you for listening in tonight. We'll talk to you next week.
The Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine acts as a hub for information, offering articles from archaeologists, detectorists and other specialists throughout the genre, featuring many links, event info and news articles associated to archaeology and metal detecting. We also offer professional review services and promotion for books, resources, videos, documentaries, gadgets, equipment and much, much more. The magazine is run by the archaeological and metal detecting community for the archaeological and metal detecting community. So come visit us at archmdmag.com, that's archmdmag.com, and check out information from our media section with all the latest content, news from the Archaeology channel, podcast and the YouTube channels that feature the now legendary Digger Dawn, the Man with the Hat and Archeo Duck, just to name a few. If you would like to offer an article, link or inquire about other services, then pay us a visit at archmdmag.com and drop us a line.